The November rain hammered against the windows of Marcus Chen's small apartment in Arlington, Virginia, each drop a reminder of the storm brewing inside him. He stood in his living room, holding the elegant cream-colored invitation card that had arrived for his wife, Sarah, but not for him. The gold lettering spelled out the details of the military gala celebrating the 75th anniversary of Fort Myer, an event honoring veterans who had served with distinction. Strategic Operations Ball, he read aloud, his voice carrying a bitter edge. Honoring those who served with valor and distinction. Sarah emerged from their bedroom, adjusting the emerald earrings that complemented her evening gown. She caught his expression, and her face fell. "Marcus, I don't have to go. We can stay home. Watch a movie." "No." He set the invitation on the coffee table with deliberate care. "Your father earned his place there. Colonel Mitchell deserves to have his daughter present." "But you earned your place too," Sarah said, moving closer to him. 22 years of service, 3 tours in Afghanistan, 2 Purple Hearts, and 1 dishonorable discharge, Marcus finished, his jaw tightening. "That's all they see now. Not the lives I saved, not the missions I led, just the one order I refused to follow." The memory crashed over him like a wave. Kandahar, 2019. His commanding officer ordering him to authorize an airstrike on a building intel suggested housed insurgents. Marcus's reconnaissance had shown it was a school, filled with children taking evening classes. He'd refused the order, saved 43 innocent lives, and lost his career in the process. Sarah's hand found his. "You did the right thing." "The right thing doesn't get you on guest lists," he replied, attempting a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Go. Represent both of us. Your father would want you there." As Sarah gathered her clutch and wrap, Marcus walked to the window, watching the rain streak down the glass. The streetlights below cast long shadows, reminding him of night patrols in Helmand Province. He'd led Delta Company through some of the most dangerous territories in Afghanistan, earning the nickname the Ghost Commander for his ability to move his unit through hostile areas undetected. "I love you," Sarah said from the doorway. "Love you too," he responded, not turning around. He couldn't bear to see the pity in her eyes. The apartment fell silent after she left, save for the rain and the distant sound of traffic on Interstate 395. Marcus moved to his study, a small room lined with books on military history and strategy. His medals sat in a drawer, untouched for 2 years. Above his desk hung a single photo, Delta Company, taken 3 days before the incident that ended everything. He pulled out a bottle of bourbon, Kentucky's finest, and poured 2 fingers into a glass. The burn was familiar, almost comforting. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Already miss you. Dad sends his regards." Colonel Mitchell had been one of the few who stood by Marcus during the court-martial, even testified on his behalf. But institutional memory was short when it came to mercy, and long when it came to punishment. Marcus was contemplating a second drink when a sharp knock echoed through the apartment. He glanced at the clock, 8:47 p.m. Too late for deliveries, too early for Sarah's return. He set down his glass and moved toward the door, old instincts making him check the peephole first. A man in full dress uniform stood in the hallway, rain droplets still clinging to his coat. 3 stars gleamed on his shoulders. Marcus's breath caught. Lieutenant General James Crawford, commander of the 10th Mountain Division and Marcus's former mentor. He opened the door slowly. "General Crawford." "Marcus." The general's weathered face was grave, his gray eyes intense. "May I come in?" "Of course, sir." Old habits died hard. Marcus stepped aside, his posture unconsciously straightening. Crawford entered, removing his cover and tucking it under his arm. He surveyed the modest apartment with a quick tactical assessment that Marcus recognized. Exits, windows, potential threats. Some things never left you. "Can I get you something? Coffee? Water?" "No time," Crawford said, turning to face him. "Marcus, I need to ask you something, and I need complete honesty. If called upon, would you serve again?" The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. "Sir, my discharge. I'm not talking about official channels," Crawford interrupted. "I'm talking about duty, about oath, about the kind of service that transcends paperwork and politics." Marcus studied his former mentor's face. In 15 years of knowing the man, he'd never seen him this troubled. "What's happened?" Crawford moved to the window, his hands clasped behind his back. "There's a situation developing, classified beyond anything you've dealt with before. We've lost contact with a deep cover asset in Eastern Europe. This asset has information vital to national security, information about a potential attack on American soil. And you need someone to extract them," Marcus said, his tactical mind already working. "Not someone. You." Crawford turned back to him. This asset will only deal with one person, the Ghost Commander. They specifically asked for you, Marcus. Said you saved their life in Kandahar. Marcus's mind raced through faces, operations, close calls. There had been so many over the years. Sir, I'm not military anymore. I have no authority, no resources. The operation would be completely black, Crawford said. No official records, no chain of command beyond me. You'd be a ghost, just like old times. But I need to know you're willing before I read you in further. The rain intensified outside, drumming against the windows with renewed force. Marcus thought of Sarah at the gala, surrounded by his former peers who now looked through him like he didn't exist. He thought of 22 years of service reduced to a single act of conscience. He thought of the 43 children who lived because he'd said no. Who else knows about this? Marcus asked. Besides me, the director of the CIA and the president. That's it. Even my aide doesn't know why I'm here. Crawford stepped closer. Marcus, I didn't agree with what happened to you. Hell, I fought it every step of the way. But right now, I don't need the soldier who follows orders. I need the commander who knows when not to. Marcus walked to his desk, opening the drawer where his medals lay. The bronze star caught the light, its surface still polished despite the years. My discharge can be reviewed, reversed even, given new circumstances and evidence. But that's not why you'll say yes. Crawford's voice carried the weight of certainty. You'll say yes because somewhere out there, an American asset is counting on you. Because despite everything they did to you, you still believe in protecting this country and its people. Marcus closed the drawer. The general was right, of course. Some oaths transcended discharge papers and political games. When? Now, Crawford said. There's a car waiting downstairs. We'll brief you en route to Andrews. You'll be wheels up within the hour. I need to tell Sarah. No. Crawford's tone was final. No one can know. Not until you're back. We'll handle the cover story. As far as anyone knows, you're at a job interview in Seattle. Tech sector, private security consulting. Marcus grabbed his go-bag from the closet, another habit that hadn't died. Inside were the essentials. Cash in multiple currencies, fake passports, technically illegal, but old safeguards died hard, basic medical supplies, and an encrypted satellite phone he'd kept maintained just in case. One more thing, Crawford said as Marcus pulled on his jacket. The asset's last message included something odd. They said, "Tell the commander that November Rain remembers." Marcus froze. November Rain. The code name for an Afghan interpreter who'd worked with Delta Company. A young woman who'd risked everything to help them navigate tribal politics and identify threats. He'd personally evacuated her family when the Taliban put a price on her head. Amira, he breathed. Amira Sayegh. You saved her in Kandahar, Crawford confirmed. Now she needs you to save her again. Except this time, she's not just an interpreter. She's been working for us inside the Iranian nuclear program. The weight of it settled on Marcus's shoulders like an old, familiar pack. Whatever Amira had discovered, it was important enough to risk exposing a deep cover asset. Important enough for Crawford to come personally. Important enough to bring back the Ghost Commander. The car, sir? Marcus asked, his voice steady now. The uncertainty burned away by purpose. Downstairs. Black SUV, government plates. Crawford moved toward the door, then paused. Marcus, that gala they didn't invite you to? By the time you get back, they'll be wishing they'd put you at the head table. I don't do this for recognition, General. I know, Crawford said, a rare smile crossing his weathered features. That's why you're the only one who can. They left the apartment together, two soldiers walking in step despite the years and ranks between them. The rain had softened to a drizzle, the storm passing as quickly as it had come. As they reached the black SUV idling at the curb, Marcus took one last look at his building. Somewhere across the city, Sarah was making small talk with people who'd written him off. She'd understand. She always did. The driver, a young sergeant with the kind of alertness that spoke of special operations training, opened the door. Sir, General Crawford, we're ready to move on your word. Marcus climbed in, Crawford following. As the vehicle pulled away from the curb, accelerating smoothly into the Arlington night, Marcus felt something shift inside him. For 2 years, he'd been a ghost of a different kind. Invisible, forgotten, discarded. Now, he was being called back to become the Ghost Commander once more. The sergeant handed him a sealed envelope. Your initial briefing materials, sir. General Crawford said you'd want to review them en route. Marcus broke the seal, his eyes scanning the classified documents within. Satellite photos of a facility in Tehran. Communication intercepts suggesting an acceleration of enrichment activities. And at the bottom, a single photograph. Amira Sayegh, older now but unmistakable, standing in a laboratory coat beside what looked like industrial centrifuges. How long has she been under? Marcus asked. 6 years, Crawford replied. Recruited right after we got her family to the States. She insisted on going back, said she owed America a debt. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was stubborn, Marcus said, remembering the determined young woman who'd faced down Taliban threats to help American forces. What's her cover? Nuclear physicist. Turns out she had a gift for it. MIT graduate program, fast-tracked through their system. The Iranians think they turned her, a bitter refugee who blamed America for Afghanistan's collapse. She's been feeding them just enough accurate intel to maintain credibility while sending us the real prize. The SUV turned onto the George Washington Parkway, heading toward Andrews Air Force Base. The Potomac River glimmered in the darkness to their right, city lights reflecting off its surface like scattered stars. And now? Marcus prompted. 3 days ago, she missed a scheduled communication. 24 hours later, she triggered an emergency beacon. The message was brief. Package complete, extraction required, November rain remembers the ghost. Marcus felt the familiar pre-mission clarity settling over him. 2 years of civilian life fell away like an old coat. What's the package? We don't know, Crawford admitted. But given her position and the risk she's taking, it has to be significant. Whatever she's found, she believes it's worth burning 6 years of cover to get it out. The SUV badge scanned through the Andrews security checkpoint without slowing. Ahead, Marcus could see the distinctive silhouette of a C-37A, the military version of the Gulfstream 5, waiting on the tarmac. Its engines were already warming up. Your team? Marcus asked. You'll handpick them from available assets in Europe. We have a safe house in Prague where you'll stage. New identities are being prepared. You're going in as an energy consortium evaluating partnerships with Iranian firms. It's thin cover, but it'll get you in country. As they pulled up to the aircraft, Marcus had one more question. Why now, General? What aren't you telling me? Crawford met his eyes. NSA intercepted chatter suggesting the Iranians are planning something for Veterans Day. That's 5 days from now. Marcus, whatever Amira found, we think it relates to that date. 5 days. Marcus had planned and executed missions with less time, but never with stakes potentially this high. He climbed out of the SUV, the night air carrying the scent of jet fuel and rain. Commander Chen, Crawford called out, using his rank for the first time. Marcus turned back. Bring her home. Bring them both home. Her and whatever intelligence she's carrying. Marcus nodded once, then strode toward the waiting aircraft. With each step, he felt himself transforming. The forgotten soldier was gone. In his place walked the ghost commander, ready to slip back into the shadows where he'd always done his best work. As he climbed the aircraft stairs, he thought about Sarah's text. Already miss you. By the time she realized he was gone, he'd be halfway across the Atlantic. By the time she got his carefully worded message about the sudden job opportunity, he'd be in Prague, assembling a team for one of the most critical missions of his career. The cabin door sealed behind him with a pneumatic hiss. Inside, a complete tactical workstation waited, along with secure communications gear and detailed intelligence packets. Marcus settled into the leather seat, his mind already working through scenarios, contingencies, and the 1,000 details that would mean the difference between success and catastrophe. As the Gulfstream accelerated down the runway, lifting into the dark November sky, Marcus allowed himself one last thought about the gala he'd been excluded from. Crawford was wrong about one thing. He didn't need or want a seat at their head table. He'd found his place long ago, in the shadows between policy and action, where hard choices were made and lives hung in the balance. The ghost commander was going back to work, and somewhere in Tehran, Amira Sayegh was counting on him to be the soldier he'd always been, the one who knew when to follow orders, and more importantly, when not to. Outside the aircraft window, Washington's lights faded into the distance. Ahead lay only darkness and the mission. Marcus opened the first intelligence packet and began to read, the familiar rhythm of preparation settling over him like armor. The forgotten soldier was gone. The ghost commander had returned. The safe house overlooked the Vltava River from Prague's lesser town, its Baroque facade concealing state-of-the-art surveillance equipment and reinforced walls. Marcus stood at the window of the third-floor operations room, watching the early morning mist rise from the water. Charles Bridge stretched across the river like a medieval spine, its statues emerging from the fog like sentinels. Coffee, Commander? Marcus turned to find Specialist Elena Volkova, Czech intelligence liaison, holding 2 steaming cups. She was young, maybe 28, with the kind of alertness that came from years of watching shadows. Thank you, he said, accepting the cup. The coffee was strong, bitter, exactly what he needed after 18 hours of travel and briefings. Your first operative arrives in 20 minutes, Elena said, checking her tablet. Master Sergeant Turner, coming in from Ramstein. Marcus nodded. He'd specifically requested Turner. They'd served together in Afghanistan, and the man could build an explosive device from kitchen supplies or disarm one with his eyes closed. If things went sideways in Tehran, they'd need his expertise. The door opened, and a familiar figure entered. Marcus felt a smile tug at his lips for the first time in days. Figured you'd need someone who actually knows how to plan an op, Captain Lisa Park said, setting down her gear bag. Sir, she added, with just enough irony to make it clear she was using the title by choice, not obligation. Lisa. Marcus crossed the room, clasping her hand. How did you... Crawford called me 6 hours after you left D.C., said you were putting together a team for something big and might need someone who could keep you from doing anything spectacularly stupid. She grinned. Couldn't resist. Besides, civilian life is boring. Turns out managing corporate security for tech companies doesn't quite match the adrenaline rush of dodging RPGs in Helmand. Lisa had been his operations officer during his last deployment, one of the few who'd publicly supported him during the court-martial. The proceedings had effectively ended her career advancement too, though she'd managed an honorable discharge. I'm glad you're here, Marcus said, meaning it. We're going to need your tactical planning expertise. The timeline is... Impossible? Lisa supplied. Yeah, Crawford briefed me on the flight over. 5 days to extract an asset from one of the most surveilled countries on Earth. Just another Tuesday for Delta Company's finest. Elena cleared her throat. I have the intelligence updates you requested, Commander. The Iranian security services have increased their presence around nuclear facilities by 30% in the last 48 hours. We're not sure if it's related to your asset or general paranoia. Marcus studied the satellite images she handed him. The facility where Amira worked was in northern Tehran, part of a complex that officially produced medical isotopes but was suspected of enrichment activities. The security was impressive. Multiple checkpoints, roving patrols, and what looked like new electronic surveillance systems. Any word from Amira? He asked. Nothing since the emergency beacon, Elena replied. But we intercepted some interesting chatter. The Iranians are moving someone they're calling the Architect to a secure location tomorrow. High-priority transfer, military escort. Marcus and Lisa exchanged glances. Code names and intelligence work were rarely coincidental. Could be her, Lisa said. If they've blown her cover, then we're running out of time faster than we thought. Marcus set down his coffee. What else do we have on the November 11th threat? Elena pulled up another file on her secure laptop. NSA flagged increased communication between Iranian intelligence and sleeper cells in 3 U.S. cities, New York, Los Angeles, and Washington, D.C. All messages reference the anniversary gift. Veterans Day, Lisa muttered. They always did have a sick sense of symbolism. The door chimed, and Elena checked the security monitor. Sergeant Turner has arrived. Roy Turner entered like a force of nature, all 6'4" of him filling the doorframe. His easy smile contradicted the calculating intelligence in his eyes, a combination that had served him well in countless operations. Commander, he said, snapping a salute that was only half mocking. Heard you were putting the band back together. Couldn't let you have all the fun without me. Roy, Marcus acknowledged. Good to have you. We're going to need your particular expertise on this one. Explosives? Turner's eyes lit up. Please tell me I get to blow something up. I've been teaching demolition safety to recruits for 2 years. Do you know how boring it is to talk about proper storage protocols when you're used to... We'll see, Marcus interrupted, but he was smiling. First, we need to get in and out without starting World War III. Over the next 2 hours, the team assembled. David Kim, their technology specialist, arrived from South Korea where he'd been consulting for Samsung's security division. Sarah Walsh, a linguist who spoke fluent Farsi and had spent years in the region as a diplomatic attaché, came in from London. Finally, Jackson Moore, their medical officer and Marcus's longtime friend, completed the group. 6 operators for a black op in hostile territory, Moore said, reviewing the mission parameters. Remember when we used to have, actual support? Air cover? Quick reaction forces? We had those things when we were legitimate military, Marcus reminded him. Now we're ghosts. Different rules. Speaking of rules, Elena interjected, Czech intelligence can provide support up to the Iranian border, but once you're in country, you're on your own. We can't risk the diplomatic fallout if something goes wrong. Lisa had already begun mapping their infiltration route on the wall-mounted display. Commercial flight to Istanbul, then overland through Turkey to the Iranian border. We'll cross near Bazargan. It's a busy commercial route, easier to blend in. Cover identities? Kim asked. Elena distributed passport packets. You're representatives of Solace Energy Consortium, a shell company we've had warming for 3 years. You have meetings scheduled with Iranian energy officials about potential partnerships in their civilian nuclear program. It'll get you into Tehran and provide reason to be near the facilities. Marcus studied his new identity. Martin Chase, Senior Vice President of International Development. The legend was solid. LinkedIn profile, published articles on energy policy, even a fake ex-wife to add authenticity. What about extraction? Turner asked. Getting in is one thing, but getting out with a high-value asset who's probably burned, that's where it gets interesting, Marcus said. He pulled up a map of the region. We have 3 potential routes, depending on how hot the situation gets. Primary is back the way we came. Boring but safe if we maintain cover. Secondary is north through Azerbaijan. We have assets there who can help. Tertiary? Let me guess, Moore said. Something suicidally dangerous that you've secretly decided is our best option? Marcus's smile was grim. East through Afghanistan. I still have contacts in the tribal regions who owe me favors. It's not ideal, but if Iran locks down their western borders, it might be our only choice. The room fell silent. They all knew the risks of transiting Afghanistan, especially given the current political situation. When do we move? Walsh asked, breaking the tension. Tomorrow night, Marcus replied. We'll use the day to rehearse contingencies and study the target area. Elena, I need everything you have on Tehran's current security protocols, especially around the nuclear facilities. As the team dispersed to prepare, Lisa lingered. You know what you're asking them to do, right? This isn't like the old days. Marcus, we don't have the weight of the U.S. military behind us. If this goes sideways, I know, Marcus said quietly. That's why I gave Crawford very specific conditions. Anyone who wants out can leave now. No questions asked. Full pardons for past actions, clean records, and a promise of no retaliation. And if we succeed? Same deal. Plus consideration for reversing certain administrative decisions. Marcus met her eyes. This isn't about redemption, Lisa. It's about stopping whatever's planned for Veterans Day and getting Amira out alive. Lisa nodded slowly. The team would follow you into hell, you know that? Not for pardons or clean records, but because you're the only commander who ever gave a damn about doing the right thing versus the easy thing. Before Marcus could respond, Kim burst through the door. We have a problem. I've been monitoring Iranian intelligence channels, and they just issued a nationwide alert. They're looking for someone matching Amira's description. Marcus moved to Kim's workstation, scanning the intercepted bulletin. The photo was old, from her university days, but recognizable. The charges were predictable. Espionage, treason, corruption of state secrets. They know, Turner said, reading over Marcus's shoulder. Question is, do they have her, or is she running? Elena's secure phone buzzed. She answered in rapid check, her face growing increasingly grave. My sources say there was an incident at the facility 2 nights ago. Security breach in the restricted section. 1 guard dead, another in critical condition. That's our girl, Walsh said with admiration. Amira always was tougher than she looked. Marcus's mind raced through possibilities. If Amira had been forced to break cover violently, she was probably hiding somewhere in Tehran, waiting for extraction. But where? They'd had safe houses years ago, but most were likely compromised now. There's more, Elena continued. The Iranians have moved up their timeline. Whatever they're planning for November 11th, they're accelerating preparations. My contacts report unusual military movements toward the ports. Ports? Moore frowned. What would they? His face paled. Oh, hell. They're not planning an attack from within the U.S. They're planning to ship something. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Sleeper cells in American cities. References to an anniversary gift. Accelerated timeline after a security breach at a nuclear facility. Amira found evidence they're trying to smuggle nuclear material to the U.S., Marcus said. That's what she's carrying. That's why she burned 6 years of cover. The room erupted in urgent discussion, but Marcus tuned it out, staring at the map of Tehran. Somewhere in that sprawling city of 9 million people, Amira Sayegh was hiding with information that could prevent a catastrophic attack on American soil. She'd asked for him specifically, trusting that the Ghost Commander would find a way to reach her. All right, listen up, Marcus said, his command voice cutting through the chatter. We're accelerating our timeline. Lisa, I want infiltration routes planned by 1800 hours. Kim, dig into everything you can find about shipping movements out of Iranian ports. Focus on anything headed to the U.S. in the next week. Turner, start working on contingency plans for a hot extraction. If Amira's burned, we might be fighting our way out. What about me? Walsh asked. You're going to help me remember, Marcus said. Amira and I had emergency protocols back in Kandahar. Dead drops, safe words, rally points if everything went to hell. She said, November rain remembers. That's not just identification, it's a message. As the team scattered to their tasks, Marcus returned to the window. Prague's afternoon sun had burned away the morning mist, revealing the city in all its Gothic splendor. Tourists crossed Charles Bridge, oblivious to the shadow war being planned 3 floors above them. His secure phone buzzed. Sarah's number. She'd discovered his absence. Marcus, where are you? Your office said you're at a conference in Seattle, but I called the hotel and you never checked in. Please call me, I'm worried. He deleted the message without listening to it twice. There would be time for explanations later, assuming there was a later. Right now, 9 million people in Tehran were going about their daily lives, unaware that among them hid a woman with information that could save thousands of American lives. Commander? Elena appeared at his elbow. I've been thinking about your assets message. November rain remembers the ghost. In Farsi, the word for ghost can also mean vanished one, or the unseen. Marcus turned sharply. You think she's using wordplay? Possibly. There's a district in Tehran called Gaib. It means the unseen place. It's an old neighborhood, lots of abandoned buildings from the Shah's era. If I were trying to hide in plain sight while sending a coded message, it's worth checking, Marcus agreed. Can you get us imagery of that district? As Elena hurried off, Lisa approached with a tablet showing infiltration routes. I've got 3 options for border crossing, but Marcus, I need to tell you something. Word about this mission is starting to circulate in certain circles. Not the details, but the fact that you're operational again. Some people aren't happy about it. Let me guess, Marcus said. Colonel Harrison? Among others. He made full bird after you were discharged, partly by painting himself as the one who stood against your reckless endangerment in Kandahar. If you succeed here, it undermines his entire narrative. Marcus shrugged. Harrison's political games are his problem. We have bigger concerns. But Lisa wasn't finished. He's not just playing politics, Marcus. Kim intercepted some back-channel communications. Harrison's been in touch with people in Tehran. Nothing treasonous, but curious timing. The implications hung in the air like smoke. If Harrison was somehow involved, either through incompetence or malice, it added another layer of danger to an already impossible mission. Turner's voice boomed from across the room. Commander, you need to see this. Kim found something in the shipping manifests. They gathered around Kim's workstation, where he'd pulled up cargo records from Iranian ports. 3 ships left Bandar Abbas in the last week, all bound for the U.S. But look at this. One of them, the Qasim Star, filed amended paperwork yesterday. Changed its destination from Houston to New York. Timeline? Marcus asked. Arrives November 10th, Kim replied. The night before Veterans Day. Moore whistled low. Cutting it close. If there's nuclear material on that ship, we need Amira's intel, Marcus said firmly. Whatever she found, it's the key to stopping this. Elena, I need everything on the Gaib district within the hour. Lisa, adjust our infiltration plan to put us in Tehran as fast as possible. Forget subtle. We need speed. As the team redoubled their efforts, Marcus felt the familiar pre-mission tension building. In 48 hours, they'd be in hostile territory, searching for a needle in a haystack while racing against a ticking clock. The odds were stacked against them, their resources limited, and their support non-existent. But he'd beaten worse odds before. And somewhere in Tehran, Amira Sayegh was counting on him to do it again. The Ghost Commander was done planning. It was time to disappear into the shadows once more. One more thing, Marcus announced to the room. From this point forward, we operate under blackout protocols. No personal communications, no digital footprints, nothing that can trace back to this operation. As far as the world is concerned, we don't exist. His team nodded, understanding the weight of what he was asking. They were about to become ghosts themselves, vanishing into a mission that would either save thousands of lives or end with their names on a memorial wall that no one would ever acknowledge. Marcus looked at each of them. Soldiers who'd chosen loyalty over career, duty over safety. Anyone who wants out, now's the time. No judgment, no consequences. No one moved. All right then, Marcus said, allowing himself a fierce pride in these men and women. Let's go bring our person home. Outside, Prague's afternoon faded toward evening, the ancient city preparing for another night. But in the safe house overlooking the Vltava, the shadows were already gathering, ready to stretch across continents to a place where one woman's courage might be all that stood between America and catastrophe.